I am here with Ryan Atkins, who almost doesn't need an introduction these days, but for those few people that still don't know who you are in the obstacle racing world, you have exploded in the last really 2 years onto the scene. You've got a win at World's Toughest Mudder in 2013. You've got a winter death race finish. You just finished second in the Spartan Race World Championships. We're at Battle Frog right now, and you just won the Battle Frog race here against a pretty elite group of racers. And pretty much he's been crushing the competition as well up in Canada and now invading the US. So thanks, Ryan, for taking time to chat with me.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Margaret.
Ryan, tell me about how you got into obstacle racing.
All right, well, it was a bit of a roundabout story. It all started with some friends of mine run a Canadian event called Mud Hero, and I ran their second event ever in Toronto, and I guess that would have been in 2012, end of summer 2012. And then a few months later, there was an event called the Brightest Dash, at which you could win an ATV, and I thought, okay, that sounds pretty cool, so I signed up for it, and I actually won that ATV. And then from there, I don't know, it kind of went on the back burner a little bit, but then I worked that following summer for Mud Hero, so I was immersed and I was building their obstacles for them and helping design the courses and marking them and stuff like that. And so after that, I decided to do the World's Toughest Mudder that fall, and I won it. And then this summer I did some Spartan races, and then kind of getting more and more into it, I guess.
So tell me about a little bit about your background. You do have a sporting background, so tell me a little bit about growing up and what sports you play and how they played a role in your life.
Well, yeah, I guess I've done a lot of different sports. When I was really young, I played hockey and a little bit of soccer. And then as I got older, I actually got super into unicycling, and I was into trials unicycling and mountain unicycling, and I did that a whole bunch. And in high school I played rugby, football, and I wrestled as well, so kind of power-based sports, all the while unicycling a ton. And then in university I kind of got more into mountain biking while still unicycling a lot. And then for about 5 or 6 years I just focused mainly on mountain biking, and I did like Canadian Nationals. I raced a few World Cups mountain biking, and just kind of progressed from there. All the while I like running. I've always run, but I've never really put a emphasis on running. I guess in the last 2 or 3 years I've gotten into ultra running and started running 80K races and doing 100Ks and doing stuff like that. Just I find the ultra running pretty cool because you're submersed in these beautiful landscapes and incredible trails, and that's like a big appeal for me.
So tell me about what you do as your full-time job when you're not cycling in the mountains and doing everything else that you're doing.
My full-time job is a bit of a weighted question because I kind of do a bunch of different stuff. So yeah, in the summer I work for Mud Hero, and I help build their obstacles and mark course and things like that. I also have my own company building mountain bike trails and hiking trails as well. So I do that a bunch. That's a contractual work. And I also went to school for mechanical engineering. So I've worked as an engineer in an office before, and now I kind of do that on the side gig as well.
So soon we're going to start seeing the Ryan Atkins courses popping up all over the
country?
country?
Yeah, that'd be cool. Some obstacles designed by me.
Now, tell me a little bit about World's Toughest Mudder 2013. Right now, you're still the reigning world champion for World's Toughest Mudder. And tell me about that race and how you run 100 miles and do 500 obstacles.
Yeah, there's a lot of obstacles. That race was pretty cool coming into it. No one really knew about me or anything, so I was like a total underdog coming into it, and I don't know, I thought I could do that. I thought I could do 100 miles, so it's like kind of my belief and stuff. And yeah, it was a really cool event. I just kind of went out and found a pace that I could stick to, and just kind of stuck to it. I've raced 24-hour mountain bike races before, like several of those. So I kind of knew it was actually really good training because it's very similar. You just kind of pick a pace and you stick to it, and you make sure you eat, and you make sure you drink, and you make sure you don't go outside of yourself like ever, but you just stay calm and collected and just keep going. And then so that's what I did, and it seemed to work.
And tell me, beyond 24-hour mountain bike races, I know that the Tough Mudder community wants to know, how do you train? How did you train for World's Toughest Mudder last year, and how are you training for it this year?
Bit of everything. It's a pretty weighted question because I think my training has kind of been the progression and the result of, you know, my athletic background and like 10 plus years of doing endurance sports and progressing and stuff like that. But the specific training would have been just like logging lots of running miles, lots of easy running on really, really technical terrain. I did about a 100K run north end of the Vermont Long Trail one day. That was a good training day, and it was about maybe 35 degrees out that day and just pouring rain. And you know, you're just struggling to average, you know, like an 8-minute mile because it's so hilly there, and just things like that, just going out and doing these big days in the hills and yeah, having fun and always staying active. I do a lot of body weight strength exercises, but other than that, I find the strength isn't really too much of an issue for me. And like, I gain strength really quickly, so actually keeping it off my upper body's like the bigger struggle. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about, we're going to switch gears from World's Toughest Mudder. We'll switch to the other community of people, Spartan Race, that you've done more of this year. Tell me about the 2014 Spartan Race World Championships.
That was a pretty cool event. That was just last weekend, so it's still like fresh in my mind. But yeah, it was a great course. I think a course like that, done twice, so essentially the Ultra Beast, is like playing to my strengths the absolute most. So just doing one lap of it was playing to my strengths quite a bit. I love doing lots of hill climbing and lots of hard obstacles, you know, working the grip strength and stuff like that. So I figured I had a pretty good shot of doing well at that race because it's just like a all-out sufferfest. You know, you're going max, but you're doing these crazy obstacles at the same time for, you know, it was about 3.5 hours, so it's not short, it's not long, but it's right in that middle point of you're on the gas the whole time because you can be, but you know, the wheels start coming off around the end, which is, it's a pretty cool event.
From Oshawa, Canada, Ryan Atkins. Also representing Team Canada, Platinum.
What advice would you give someone that's trying to maybe they're looking ahead, they want to do World's Toughest Mudder this year, they want to do, maybe looking forward to a beat like Vermont in next year, Ultra Beast next year. I know you didn't do that, but you got a taste of one lap of
yeah.
it. What advice would you give to somebody who's sort of entering the more endurance world?
That's a good question. I'd say you basically have to start training like a CrossFitter and an ultra runner at the same time. You know, you have to log these long runs and technical terrain. You have to do explosive strength work, and you have to do like sprint high intensity intervals. So you kind of have to do a bit of everything, and at the same time keeping a real focus on how much you're recovering, because in this sport I think it's easy and natural to just train yourself into a hole. So I think the biggest piece of advice is like, don't do that. And what I do is I'll have like specific specific workouts that I'll try to hit numbers on, like quantifiable, repeatable workouts, whether it's a 5K run or whether it's a certain big hill that you run up for time. That way you know that if you've been putting in the time and you've been doing lots of good training and you just can't hit those numbers, then you're probably not recovered, and your body's not adapting to the training that you're giving it, so you should probably back off a bit. And then at the same time, if you are hitting those numbers and you're feeling great, then just, keep driving ahead and, run it twice or go harder, pick it up, stuff like that.
What lesson did competitive unicycling teach you that you can now use in obstacle racing?
It's actually, that's actually a good question, because the thing that I did the most in unicycling was called trials. So if anyone's familiar with bike trials or motorcycle trials, it's the same thing except on a unicycle. So you basically pick the most technical terrain imaginable and you try to traverse it on your unicycle. So the courses that we did are very similar to an obstacle course. So you're basically jumping your unicycle from one obstacle to the next, and you're like hooking your pedal onto things and jumping up onto rails, riding along rails, things like that. So it's all obstacle based. So then when I came into the obstacle racing world, the way that your body moves and the way that all the physics works behind hitting an obstacle, or even something as small as the traction on your shoes can get on different slipperiness, different traction on types of sand, types of clay, wet rubber, rocks, what a slippery rock looks like or a dry rock looks like. That's stuff that I've been doing for 10 or 12 years, so it's really ingrained into the back of my mind. So all the obstacles, well, yeah, I haven't been doing Spartan races for years. I was doing essentially unicycle obstacle kind of racing. There's no time base on it. It's just if you can complete it or not. It's like a go, no-go sport. But yeah, I've been doing that for a while, so it's a very natural progression and a very useful background to have.
For those that don't know, you do have a girlfriend, so all of the women that might have a crush on you, you have a girlfriend. She came to Vermont with you.
Yeah.
That was her first obstacle race?
That was her first Spartan race.
First Spartan race. So tell me about your girlfriend coming to Vermont and how that all ended up happening and how she ended up doing.
Well, I registered for Vermont months ago, and at the time I told my girlfriend's name's Lindsay. I told Lindsay, I said, you should come down and do this race with me because I know she's a really good runner and a really strong athlete. And she was kind of like, I don't know, maybe not, maybe. And then, time goes by and you don't really talk about it that much. And then I think like a week before the event, I said, you know what, you should really come this weekend. Like, I think there's like a 50% chance of you ending up on the podium and a 90% chance of you ending up in the top 10. And she said, really, you think that? And I was like, yeah, totally. So she was like, okay, I'm going to come. She had to drive herself down. She didn't get in till about 2 a.m. the night before, so she only got to sleep about 3 hours before the event. But she came in and she did just as well as I thought she would. I think she ended up doing 300 burpees. She just kept failing obstacles, but she finished fourth, just minutes behind third place, and I think less than 10 minutes off the leader. So I mean, I told her that if it's something she wants to pursue, and that's totally up to her, that she could have a very promising future in the sport. But I mean, you have to do what you love. So yeah. I know she loves mountain biking and she loves trail running and she loves all sorts of different activities. So to try to just focus everything on one sport, I don't think is necessarily a good idea. You have to be like a well-rounded person and a well-rounded athlete.
Speaking to that, what you just said, do you think that because you engage in a lot of different sports, still cycling, Nordic skiing in the winter, and running, obstacle racing, do you think because you do everything, that all these different things, that it aids in your performance? And
yeah, I think so. I think every time you toe the start line to a race, it's a good learning experience no matter what the sport is. And definitely cross training is super important. It keeps you fresh and it keeps you hungry for different sports, right? Like, I'm already looking forward to Nordic skiing this winter, and I'm just like super excited to get out there back on the skis and just start going. And that's a few months away, but it's having that hunger to do the next sport. And when you're that hungry for competing with other people and trying to get the most performance out of yourself, the training's never hard. It's just enjoyable all the time.
And I guess the last question I'll ask you, because we've got an awards ceremony to go to here at Battle Frog, is what's next for Ryan Atkins?
I don't know.
What can we see in the next 6 months?
I'd like to definitely, I'm going back to World's Toughest Mudder, that's for sure. I'm still undecided if I'm going to do OCR World Champs or if I'm going to do the Spartan Triple Crown. It's like all up in the air and so confusing. But I don't know, I'm going to do more work, more racing, and the next 6 months I'd like to get some sponsors, some more sponsors, and kind of pursue obstacle course racing while at the same time just like, you know, having fun and doing other things on the side. I think I need to go down to some bigger mountains and play for a bit too. That's got to happen soon.
Well, thanks Ryan so much for chatting. That was awesome. And thanks for letting us learn a little bit more about you and unicycling. And I guess we're waiting to see when's unicycling and obstacle racing going to be fully a sport combined together.
That'd be cool.
I think you'd have that championship.
Yeah, totally. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
This episode of Obstacle and Adventure Weekly is brought to you in part by Win High Performance Sports Detergent, formulated to release the odors and restore wicking ability of your favorite sports apparel. Sweat hard, smell great with Win.
Hey guys, it's Hunter McIntyre and you're watching Obstacle and Adventure Weekly.
Corinna Coffin. You are ready to take on the Killington Beast.
What'd you think about your first Vermont Beast experience?
Definitely lived up to all the expectations of difficult.
I'm here with Corinna Coffin, and if you don't know her name yet, you should. Corinna has exploded onto the obstacle racing scene in the last 2.5 months, really. She has accumulated a win at a Battle Frog race, followed that up by a 2nd place finish at a Spartan race in DC, followed that up by 3rd place at Amesbury, followed that one up by another 3rd place at Wintergreen. Now we're here today. Oh, by the way, she came in 2nd at Spartan Race World Championships just last week, and here we are today in Pittsburgh, where she won Battle Frog once again today. So, Corinna, you are just blowing up the obstacle racing scene right now, and thank you so much for spending some time and talking to us.
Not at all. It's exciting to be here.
Corinna, where did you come from? Tell me about how you found obstacle racing and how it's become part of your life.
Gosh, it's been a really crazy past 2.5 months. It's crazy to think that that's about as long as it's been going on for me, but I kind of just stumbled into it. I did my first OCR last summer. The Virginia Super Spartan last year was my first one, and I did that in the open division with some friends from my workout group, SEAL team, and And I didn't really stick with my friends for long just because I'm a hill climber and they weren't, and so I was like, all right, well, I'm just gonna go up ahead. So I ended up finishing up really well in the open, and I kind of plugged my time into what the elites would have been. I was like, oh wow, like maybe I should have done the elite wave. So I signed up pretty early on for the next year's Virginia Super Spartan, which was this past August. And so that was really, this past August, that was like the only OCR I had on the agenda. I was like, all right, I'm gonna do Virginia again in the elite wave, and maybe I'll do really well that time. So that's all I was planning on. And then a friend of mine, the night before Battle Frog DC, she messaged me and she's like, hey, I was signed up to this Battle Frog DC race, and I can't do it because I sprained my ankle, but I have a free entry code if you want to just do it. And it's like, you know, 8 o'clock at night, and I was like, well, let me see if I can do that. And then 2 hours later, I was like, yeah, I'll sign up. Like, why not? It's summer. So I registered, finished registering at 10:30, and at 4 a.m. I was up and driving to West Virginia where the race was actually held, not quite DC. And I just had a blast there, and I didn't know anyone. I was nervous at the starting line. I was like, what am I doing here? Why did I get up this early to come here and race? And everyone looks so like serious, and they all know each other, and yeah, they look like they're really intense athletes. And so I was just kind of doubting myself, but it's like, all right, I'm here, have fun and make friends, which I did, and I ended up winning that one. And so that kind of, from there I met people, and they were like, oh, you should try the Spartan Race DC next weekend, like you should do it. And I was like, okay, like I'll do it. And then from that race, and then I came in second there, and they're like, you should do the Amesbury sprint this next weekend. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. And so from there, it's just been kind of a whirlwind of racing, and fortunately, I've been able to have a bit of success in those races, and then Worlds just topped it off last weekend, so that was really exciting.
And for those that don't know, tell us about how you did it at Spartan Race World Championships. I
was able to podium, and I got second place right behind Claude, so it was really an exciting race for me.
Corinna Coffin!
I wanted to get top 10. That was pretty much my only expectation. I was like, oh, I'm coming in here kind of as a nobody. No one's, like, there's not a whole lot of pressure on me to do well, except for from myself, because I always wanted to do my best and, be up there in the top. And so, honestly, my goal was top 10, but I was really hoping maybe there's a chance for 5th place. Like, I kind of calculated it out, and I was like, all right, 5th place would be, I think I can do it if I try really hard. And then during the race, I kept like, is this even real? Like, am I in 3rd place right now? Am I in 2nd place? Am I leading? Like, it just all seemed unreal. It still seems unreal now, but I had a blast, and I don't think I've ever worked harder in my life during a race. And it was just incredible, the amount of talent out there, and just tenacity at each obstacle, and to climb those mountains. And fortunately for me, I fared well, and it couldn't have gone better. So
awesome.
Yeah.
So tell me about, you're obviously an athlete. We can just look at you and you're an athlete. Tell me about your athletics prior to 2.5 months ago. And I guess they're still the same. So tell me a little bit about you as an athlete growing up.
Yeah, growing up, soccer was my sport. I played. I have 3 older brothers, or a twin brother and then 2 older brothers, and so my mom, in terms of consolidating all the sports practices she had to drive to, she would always sign me up for the boys' teams, and so I'd get to practice on the first day and I'd be like, where are all the other girls? Like, I'm looking around, and I'd be like, all right, well, I'm the only girl, so I'll just play as like one of the boys. And I think that really, from an early age, got me to play really tough and be competitive, really competitive amongst even the boys, and really want to just kick butt. And my mom would always be like yelling from the sidelines, like, be aggressive, Corinna. So and definitely just growing up with 3 brothers, you're tough, you hang in there, and you try to stay up towards the top and not get trampled on. So that was, my family's been huge in kind of shaping me as an athlete and a competitor, and just a person in general. And I'm super close with my family, and I love them to death. And so that's been great. And then, you know, I got into lacrosse and cross country in high school, and, you know, wasn't a superstar, but I made the all Central Virginia cross country team, and all state for lacrosse like my senior year. So it was like, you know, it's a good athlete. I think my running, I was just able to run forever, and so that you know, that set me apart. Even though my skills, my skill work wasn't, you know, the best by far. But also my junior year in high school, my twin is training to be a Navy SEAL, and so he joined SEAL Team Physical Training, which is this outdoor boot camp, hour-long boot camp class from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. in the mornings, and he joined junior year in high school, and so he kept telling me about it. He'd be like, Corinna, like, you should come to these workouts. And so spring of my senior year, I decided to join him, and I was like, all right, I'll come with you to them. So every morning before school, get up at 5 a.m., drive the 30 minutes to the workout, do an hour-long outdoor workout with, you know, led by a Navy SEAL and with awesome people from all ages and all athletic abilities, and we just had a great workout. Then from there, we'd book it to school and hit the locker room, shower before class started, and that was the start of our day. And I think that that set, you know, some discipline and like a hard work ethic from an early age. That was my first, like, that was before I went to the gym and lifted, or, you know, went to the gym and actually had an exercise regimen. So that really started it, and everyone was like, wow, like I got really strong and even faster, and I saw it definitely contribute to how I performed as an athlete. And so you know, I'd go to sports practice after school, so, you know, my day started early and ended with sports as well. It started with exercise and ended with exercise, and I love it, and I'm super passionate about nutrition and exercise and the whole equation.
How do you balance student, you're working, you're racing, you're training yourself?
Yeah.
So for other people, you're not the only one out there, so for other people that are college students or have busy lives, what's your trick?
Yeah, it's definitely time management, and I know you hear that all the time, like in college, but it really is like, I have a plan for every moment of my day, like, and I'm not a super organized person, so it's not something that, you know, comes naturally to me. But every night I'm like, all right, I plan out my day tomorrow. I know what hours I have class, so I'm like, all right, between the hour that I have between these two classes, I'm biking to the gym or biking to the football stadium to run stairs. Especially before, leading up to Worlds, I was like, stadium stairs, like with the weight vest and the bumper plates, but like, I'm like, this is what I'm gonna do, and I don't let myself, you know, go off track from that. I definitely, if I have a plan, I'm gonna stick to it, because it's so easy to make an excuse and then just let one excuse lead to another, and then by the end of the day, you haven't accomplished anything.
What do you do for your downtime? Do you have downtime?
My downtime, well, gosh, I mean, activity is fun for me. Like, any exercise is like my fun time, but I love cooking. Like, that's just, I love going on Pinterest and like finding all the healthy recipes and trying to like make healthy desserts, because I love desserts, but like, it's also nice when you can make it healthy. So my boyfriend and I have experimented with black bean brownies. That's probably one that's just never gonna get good, I don't think. But sweet potato pudding, like sweet potato with some rock cocoa powder and almond milk and honey, like we've had some success with it, and but we definitely love or I say we, but my boyfriend and I, we definitely,
You can say we.
Yeah, we definitely just you know, like to kick back and relax sometimes and cook, or, you know, watch Netflix or something. But it's just, there's not a whole lot of time, but that's when you just cherish it the most, when you just have like a couple hours here and there to just really enjoy.
So what is next for Corinna Coffin?
I'm thinking a couple weeks of maybe a little bit of no racing and just training. Like, you know, I definitely want to give my body like the rest it needs, but also like it's a key time with OCR World Championships coming up. So it's definitely, I don't want to like give myself too much rest, and I'm not one to rest really. I don't really take off days, but just to let my body recuperate from last week, and you know, jumping into this race today was awesome. But I was definitely feeling parts of me that that need a little time before the next race. So I'm gonna try. You know, I always have this itch to compete, and I'm always working towards the next thing. But I think it's the smart move to kind of.
Things are falling from the sky.
Yeah. No, I think it's smart to just take a little, like, you know, really focus on World Championship and not have it much going on.
What did you think about the field that you saw in Vermont last weekend? And you know, some of those women are going to be at OCR World Championship soon.
No,
tell me about the international side of this whole thing.
No, it was so awesome. I met Claude in the bathroom before the race, so that was awesome. I just because we'll be on the same team for OCR World Championship on the Sunday race. No, I was so stoked to just be in the same, you know, the same wave and same heat as all the competition, you know, as all the top girls and international, and you know, within the U.S. too. It was just so cool and unreal to kind of be racing and be there, because I've heard, you know, you hear so much about the World Championship and the Spartan World Championship in Vermont, how brutal of a course it is. So to be there and just fly up like right the night before the race and you know, just kind of jump into things. It was fun and it was exciting, and it was really motivating and inspiring to just be with so many great athletes and kind of get to know them, you know, aside from racing as well. So,
Corinna, thank you so much for talking to me today.
Thanks for having me.
I mean, it was great. We learned more about you. Good luck coming up with OCR World Championships.
It's a big one.
As well as an incredible 2015 now season.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Margaret.
Ain't no mountain high enough. Ain't no battle low enough. Ain't no river. The kid, I know. We gotta